There is a key, not a golden one, not silver, not one you can hold in your hand, but a key that lives inside the mind. A master key, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the one who dares to seek it. Napoleon Hill, after spending 20 years studying the giants of industry, Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, declared that success is not an accident, nor a gift reserved for the lucky few. It is a formula, a science, a code that, once unlocked, opens the doors to both fortune and freedom. And yet, most will never turn this key. Most will walk through life with locked doors in front of them, believing they were meant to live in shadows, while others bask in the light. But Hill's revelation was simple. You are the locksmith. You are the one holding the power to open or close the doors of your own destiny. Look around you. The world we live in was once impossible. The airplanes that carry us across oceans, the lights that brighten cities at midnight, the skyscrapers that kiss the clouds, all of these were once just whispers in the minds of dreamers. Edison was told he was insane for chasing light from a filament. Henry Ford was ridiculed for imagining a car affordable to the common man. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination. And yet, these men found the key. They unlocked it. They turned their thoughts into gold, their visions into empires, their beliefs into a reality that still shapes our lives today. The master key, Napoleon Hill taught, begins with thought. Every fortune begins as an idea, a fragile seed in the soil of imagination. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But here lies the truth most people ignore. Conception is easy, belief is rare. The world is full of dreamers who conceive but never believe, who wish but never act. The master key demands both conception and belief, thought and faith, vision and action. So let me ask you, what is locked inside you? What vision have you buried under fear, under doubt, under the opinions of others? What dream have you convinced yourself is impossible? The master key whispers that nothing is impossible if you dare to believe. But belief is not built on hope. It is forged in discipline, focus, and persistence. Imagine standing before two doors. Behind one is mediocrity, safety, comfort, the familiar life that asks for nothing but gives nothing in return. Behind the other is greatness, wealth, freedom, purpose, impact. The key in your hand can open either. And every day, with every choice, you are turning that key. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate who became one of the richest men in history, once told a young Napoleon Hill, "There is a secret to success, and if you will spend 20 years looking for it and then share it with the world, you will be given a treasure beyond measure." Hill accepted the challenge. He interviewed more than 500 of the most powerful men and women of his time: presidents, inventors, generals, moguls. And when his work was finished, he realized that the master key was not luck, not privilege, not inheritance. It was the disciplined control of the mind. Control your mind, and you control your destiny. Lose control of your mind, and you become a slave to circumstance. That is the law. The wealthy, the free, the world changers are not gods. They are humans who mastered their thoughts. They built habits around discipline, not distraction. They planted their focus like a spear into the future, and they refused to look away. But let us not pretend the master key is easy to use. No lock worth opening ever is. You will be tested. You will face ridicule. The crowd will laugh at you the same way they laughed at Edison, Ford, and Disney. You will be tempted to throw away the key and accept the life of the ordinary. But those who hold on, Those who persist, those who refuse to surrender, the doors open for them. And behind those doors is a life most only dream about. So where do you begin? Begin with your definite major purpose. Napoleon Hill declared it the first principle of success. Without a clear purpose, the key will turn aimlessly in the lock. Purpose sharpens the blade of your mind, aligns your energy, commands your subconscious to work day and night toward your vision. Purpose is the magnet that draws opportunities, people, and resources to you. Without it, you are scattered. With it, you are unstoppable. Picture a ship in the ocean without a compass, drifting wherever the tide pushes it. That is the life of the unfocused. Now picture a ship with a captain who knows exactly where he is going, sails raised, eyes fixed on the horizon. That is the life of purpose. Which ship are you steering? The master key is waiting in your hand. But remember this, a key is useless unless you decide to use it, unless you put it into the lock, unless you turn it with faith, persistence, and unshakable will. This is not about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about mastery of thought, of emotion, of action. And the moment you master yourself, the world will bend to you. Fortune will not run from you. It will run toward you. Freedom will not be a dream. It will be your reality. Because the master key is not outside you. It is within you. The master key is not just a concept. It is a way of life. Napoleon Hill often warned that those who seek shortcuts, who hope for riches without sacrifice, are destined to fail. Why? Because wealth without discipline collapses. Fortune without purpose destroys. Freedom without responsibility becomes chaos. This is why the master key demands self-mastery above all things. It is the foundation stone upon which every empire is built. Look at the great builders of history. Carnegie was not simply a man of steel. He was a man of discipline, waking each day with a vision and carving steel not just with machines, but with clarity of thought. Henry Ford did not simply invent the automobile. He mastered the art of persistence, enduring ridicule after countless failures until his vision roared to life on roads across the world. Self-mastery begins with controlling your thoughts. Thoughts are seeds, and the mind is fertile soil. Whatever you plant will grow, whether weeds of fear or gardens of abundance. The average person plants doubt daily. I can't. I'm not ready. What if I fail? These thoughts multiply, choking the roots of dreams before they bloom. But the disciplined man chooses carefully what he plants. He waters faith, persistence, vision, and courage until his garden produces a harvest of fortune. But thought alone is not enough. The master key requires action. Think of Thomas Edison. He did not sit in his workshop wishing for light. He experimented 10,000 times until light obeyed his command. Action is the bridge between the invisible and the visible, between imagination and reality. Dreams without action are mirages, but action without vision is wasted motion. The master key unites both, crystal clear vision with relentless action. And here lies a truth many do not want to hear. Success is not a one-time decision. It is a daily discipline. The master key must be used again and again, for every door in your journey will require a new turn. One victory does not mean eternal success. Wealth must be maintained. Freedom must be protected. Discipline must be renewed. Hill discovered that every man or woman who unlocked fortune carried with them an unshakable faith. Not religious faith alone, but faith in themselves, in their vision, in the certainty that the universe bends to persistence. Faith is not passive. It is active, a living force that transforms doubt into fuel. Without it, the master key rusts. With it, the key shines, capable of opening doors others cannot even see. Now let us step deeper. Imagine you are walking through a grand hallway lined with doors. Behind one lies wealth. Behind another lies influence. Behind another lies freedom. You hold the master key, but each door requires a price. The price is persistence. The price is sacrifice. The price is patience when the world mocks you, courage when fear whispers, and endurance when storms rage. Do you remember the story of Colonel Sanders? At 65 years old, broke and nearly forgotten, he carried a recipe for fried chicken and knocked on 1,000 doors before someone said yes. That is the master key in action. A man refusing to let rejection lock his destiny. Or consider Abraham Lincoln. Defeated in elections, broken in business, ridiculed as a leader, yet he persisted, turning the master key until he unlocked a destiny that would shape a nation. This is the lesson Hill carved into the world. The master key is not reserved for geniuses or the privileged. It is available to every man and woman willing to master their thoughts, define their purpose, and persist against all odds. But here is the warning. If you do not use the master key, someone else will use it against you. The world is full of those who control the thoughts of the masses through fear, through distraction, through manipulation. If you do not discipline your mind, others will discipline it for you, steering your ship into their harbor. Freedom belongs only to those who steer their own course. So how do you begin to claim this key today? Start small. Create one discipline that strengthens your mind. Wake at the same hour. Write your goals every morning. Guard your mind from toxic words and poisonous influences. Build daily habits of focus, of reading, of learning, of acting with courage. Each discipline is like turning the key one notch further. Napoleon Hill's life itself was proof of this. He was not born into wealth nor privilege. He was a boy from the mountains of Virginia, yet his relentless pursuit of wisdom carried him to the halls of presidents and the boardrooms of billionaires. His life shouted one message: if I can find the master key, so can you. So now imagine yourself standing before a door that has been locked for years. Behind it lies the life you have always desired: financial freedom, a mind at peace, the ability to live on your own terms. You hold the master key. Will you turn it? Will you risk the laughter of others, the sting of failure, the storms of persistence? Or will you place the key back in your pocket and walk away? The choice is yours. But remember this: every day you delay, the lock grows colder, the hinges stiffer, the dream fainter. And every day you persist, the key turns a little further, the door opens a little wider, the dream grows a little nearer. The master key is waiting. Use it. Every person alive comes to a crossroads, the moment where destiny demands a decision. One path is comfort, the road of ease, of safety, of blending into the crowd. The other is the narrow path of discipline, of sacrifice, of bold persistence. Most men choose the first and wonder why fortune eludes them. A rare few, armed with the master key, choose the second, and history remembers their names. But what is the true essence of this key? Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. Without purpose, wealth becomes a curse. Without purpose, freedom becomes emptiness. Purpose is the compass, the direction, the meaning that turns success into significance. Think of a ship at sea. Without a captain, without a destination, It drifts endlessly, tossed by every wave and storm. But with a captain who knows the harbor he seeks, every gust of wind, every storm, every obstacle becomes fuel for the journey. Fortune is no accident. Freedom is no accident. They are claimed only by those who steer with purpose. Carnegie revealed this secret when he told Hill, "A man who does not know what he wants will rarely recognize it, even if it is handed to him." That is why so many live lives of quiet desperation, working hard, yet not knowing why, chasing shadows instead of building empires. Once you choose a definite purpose, something miraculous happens. Life begins to align. Opportunities that once seemed invisible appear in your path. People who share your vision are drawn toward you. And even when failure strikes, purpose transforms it into a lesson instead of a grave. But definiteness of purpose alone is not enough. The master key requires its twin force, organized effort. One man's vision can change the world, but no man changes the world alone. This is why Napoleon Hill spoke of the Mastermind Alliance, the gathering of minds united by a common goal. One mind can imagine, 2 minds can strategize, 10 minds can build empires. Consider the Wright brothers. Alone, their dream of flight would have been impossible. But together, they combined vision, persistence, and collaboration until they conquered the skies. Or think of Carnegie himself. He admitted that his fortune did not come from steel alone, but from surrounding himself with men who knew more than he did. That is the master key at work, not only turning the lock of personal purpose, but aligning with others who hold their own keys. But here is the danger. Many misunderstand fortune. They think it means money alone. Hill warned against this illusion. True fortune is freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of time, freedom of action. Money is only a tool. Some of the wealthiest men in history have been the poorest in spirit, enslaved by greed, chained by fear of losing what they gained. But the man who unlocks the door with the master key lives richly, even before his pockets overflow, because his wealth is first in the mind. This is why gratitude is a secret chamber within the key. Gratitude shifts the heart from scarcity to abundance. A man who is grateful for what he has becomes a magnet for more. A man who curses what he lacks closes his own door. The master key cannot turn in the hands of bitterness. It responds only to those who wield it with faith and appreciation. Now let us step into the practical, the habits that sharpen the key until it glitters. Begin by writing your purpose daily. Not once, not twice, but every single day until it is etched into your subconscious. This daily ritual engraves the master key so deeply into your mind that doubt cannot erase it. Then act. Every day, small steps that move you closer to the door. A man who acts daily becomes unstoppable. Momentum builds, fear fades, and the lock begins to turn. And here is another secret. Adversity is not your enemy. Adversity is the forge where the master key is strengthened. Every rejection, every failure, every loss is heat upon the steel of your soul. Without fire, there is no strength. Without resistance, there is no growth. The universe tests every man before granting fortune, demanding, "Are you ready? Will you endure?" Only those who persist through fire are deemed worthy to open the door. Think of Helen Keller, born without sight or sound, yet she unlocked a destiny brighter than millions who had both eyes and ears. Or consider Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years, yet his spirit remained free. When the door finally opened, he stepped not only into political power, but into the legacy of a world changer. These lives prove what Hill declared. Every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. The master key is not just an idea. It is a living power that waits in the hand of anyone willing to claim it. But it must be used wisely. Open the wrong door. Greed, corruption, vanity, and the key becomes a curse. Open the right door. Service, vision, freedom, and it becomes a blessing beyond imagination. And so I ask you, which door will you open? Will you choose the path of ease, where comfort today becomes regret tomorrow? Or will you choose the path of discipline, where sacrifice today unlocks freedom tomorrow? The master key has been handed to you through these words, through the lives of those who came before. But a key unused is a dream unrealized. Do not place it back in your pocket. Do not let it rust in the shadows of doubt. Stand now, define your purpose, gather your allies, persist through fire, and turn the lock. Because behind that door is more than fortune. Behind that door is your destiny. The master key is not theory. It is not philosophy locked in dusty books. It is alive. It breathes in every man and woman who dares to think differently, who dares to believe that freedom is not a privilege of the few, but the destiny of the determined. Napoleon Hill once said, "There is no limitation to the mind except those we acknowledge." That single sentence is a mirror. Look into it, and you will see your chains. You will also see your wings. Which one you choose to use will decide the story of your life. Let us strip the idea down to its essence. Every limitation is self-made. Poverty of the wallet begins with poverty of thought. Imprisonment of circumstance begins with imprisonment of imagination. And every door to freedom first exists in the mind before it appears in the world. This is why Hill insisted on autosuggestion, the daily practice of feeding your subconscious with your purpose, your vision, your belief. Most men allow the world to program their minds with fear, scarcity, and doubt. The few reprogram their minds with courage, abundance, and faith. The master key is not handed to the weak of thought. It is forged by those who master their inner world first. Now let us imagine the door is before you. It is tall, ancient, carved with symbols of destiny. Behind it lies the life you were born to live. Fortune, freedom, fulfillment. But the lock is complex, requiring not just one motion but many. The first turn of the key is definiteness of purpose. Without it, the lock will not budge. The second turn is persistence. You may jiggle the key once, twice, 100 times. The door resists, but persistence is the hand that refuses to let go. The third turn is the mastermind alliance, those who stand beside you, adding their strength to yours. The fourth turn is faith, not blind hope, but unshakable conviction that the door will open. The fifth turn is action, daily, relentless, disciplined action. And when the final click echoes, the door swings open. Light floods your soul. And there it is, fortune and freedom, waiting for you to claim. But the journey does not end here. Many believe that once the door opens, the quest is over. That is the greatest mistake of all, because fortune is not a destination. Freedom is not a finish line. They are responsibilities, living forces that demand stewardship. Think of wealth. Without wisdom, it destroys. With wisdom, it multiplies into legacies. Think of freedom. Without discipline, it collapses into chaos. With discipline, it becomes a torch that lights the way for others. This is the final lesson of the Master Key. It is never for you alone. It is for those who will follow. Every man who unlocks his destiny becomes a signpost for the next traveler. That is why Hill's words live nearly a century after they were spoken. That is why Carnegie's empire still influences the modern world. That is why your story, too, if you dare to live it, will ripple beyond your own lifetime. So let us ground this into practice, step by step. Write your purpose every morning, not once a year, not when inspiration strikes, daily. Purpose is a flame. Without fuel, it flickers and dies. Form your alliance. Seek those who believe in your vision. Trade ideas, energy, accountability. Fortune is not built in isolation. Guard your mind. Refuse to feed it with negativity. Protect it like a vault. Fill it with faith, gratitude, and bold ideas. Act daily. Small actions compound into massive results. A door is not broken by one strike, but by 1,000. Embrace adversity. When it comes, and it will, thank it. For it is the chisel that shapes your character into something unbreakable. Serve others. The greatest fortunes are not built by taking, but by giving. Service is the law that keeps the door open once it is unlocked. And remember this: freedom is not given, it is taken. It is claimed by those who refuse to live small, by those who refuse to bow to fear, by those who take the master key and unlock the life that was always waiting for them. One day, years from now, someone will speak your name. They will not say you lived cautiously. They will not say you drifted aimlessly. They will say, here was a man, here was a woman who discovered the master key and dared to use it. Because of them, the world is richer, freer, braver. That is the invitation of Napoleon Hill. That is the call to courage. That is the legacy you are meant to write. So rise now. The door is waiting. The master key is already in your hand. The time to unlock it is not tomorrow, not next year, not when conditions are perfect. The time is now, because fortune does not wait. Freedom does not beg. Destiny does not knock twice. Turn the key, step through the door, and live the life you were born to live.